Use the Force, Luke.
Live long and prosper.
I was going into Toshi Station to pick up some power converters.
Lilu Dallas Multipass.
Shut up and take my money.
By Grabthar's hammer. What a saving.
One does not simply walk into Mordor.
X never, ever marks the spot.
Winter is coming.
You're a wizard, Harry.
Stay a while and listen.
Hey, old Kermit the Frog here.
Bow ties are cool.
So say we all.
This is a Play on Nerds.
Welcome to episode 218 of A Play on Nerds. I'm Jarman.
I'm Steve, and all of our listeners just thought they had time traveled.
We're doing a time warp episode. No.
Right.
This time around, we are going to do, in honor of the live-action Snow White Disney flick coming out in theaters that everyone was asking for, we're going to be talking about the seminal classic film version of the story that we all know and love, 1997's Snow White, A Tale of Terror, starring Sam Neill and Sigourney Weaver.
That's right. We're all very excited for the live-action, but also still mostly animated Snow White.
Even the dwarves are animated, apparently.
And so we're going to celebrate a different Snow White that has no animation and nearly no little people.
Yeah, how about that?
Quite nearly. But before that, Jarman, what have you been up to since last time we chatted?
Well, not too much, but I did have a belated birthday dinner with the parents with my wife. That was a lot of fun. We went to this local, there's a golf course that has like a nice banquet center and like a brewery all in one place. And so we were going to have we might have had our wedding there, but they're a little bit out of our price range. So we hadn't eaten there yet before. So we had dinner there and it was really nice. And then for another person's birthday, another friend's birthday, we went to this place that makes rugs. And you could take your own food and drinks in there. And they have these tuft guns. Have you seen those before?
Dude, those things look real scary.
Oh, yeah, they do. Apparently they're like $50.
A sawzall with a needle on it.
Yeah. You hold down the trigger and it's like, and it's like, it's just terrifying. But I only tried it once. And the rest of the time I just kind of watched everyone else making the rugs. And Jolie had a great time. She did a great job. And they had nerdy designs and stuff you could do. And there was like a Hey Arnold one, which is kind of cute. And like a Mario one. But yeah, it was a good time, but something I definitely never done before.
Well, yeah, man, I wouldn't touch any of it.
It was a little scary, but they're only $50. You can buy one for home protection if you want to like take someone apart slowly with a needle.
That's true.
A giant needle.
That's right.
But Steve,
that's the next Saw movie.
Yeah. It is. What have you been up to?
Well, not too much. We're doing it's like my first real adult interaction with insurance that I can remember. A long time. Anna went to get the car checked and was pulling out of an awkward spot and avoiding another car and damaged our door pretty good. So we got estimates and now we finally have a date. And so we got to borrow my parents' car. And it's just, it's easy to forget what the rigmarole is all like.
Oh, yeah.
Getting to it. And then otherwise, in other boring adult news, as of yesterday, we're complete with our taxes. We're done for the year.
Oh, damn. Good for you.
I recommend to everybody, the best thing you can do for your sanity is just get it done early.
It's easier when you have one income from like one place. It makes it a lot more simple.
But but if you start early, then if stuff gets screwed up, you have time.
Yeah, that's true.
If stuff goes well, great, you're done.
And
if you're not freaking out 2 days before.
And if you're a freelancer and you suddenly one year make a lot more money than the previous years, make sure you hold back all that money you need for the end of the year. Don't be like me and make a lot of money and not hold back any for taxes. And then you're like, oh, crap, I owe a lot of money in taxes.
Yeah, that's right.
So, yeah, that's where I'm at. But I get it. And insurance, same thing here. Our house was crashed into. So I feel your pain because
you guys are dealing with it, too.
We're waiting for the owners of the houses. We're renters to they had an insurance person come out here to see if it'd be approved. And now they're waiting for contractors to come out to give them different bids. So we still don't have a front door to our house because it was crashed into by that car. So it's been weeks and weeks now without a front door. And just, we've had some more bugs because they're still getting through the plywood that's holding up the front. So it's a little, it's not fun. Yeah. So there is that.
It's kind of like a jungle danger zone.
Almost. Thankfully, it's keeping most of the air conditioner in and not making huge bills for us. But
well, that's why the bugs when I come in.
Yeah.
I just want that AC.
It's Florida after all. But I guess that takes us to some nerdy news.
It's time for Nerdy News.
All right, this week on Nerdy News, my cheeky name for my cheeky story is Stupid Humans. A study has recently been done with bonobos. That's sort of a recreation of the old cup and ball hustle. Well, researchers put 3 cups out, and they hide a treat under one of them while the bonobo is watching. The bonobo only gets that treat if they get a different human to pick the right cup. So, in half the cases, they put the humans behind a clear glass so that the bonobo could see that human saw where the thing was hidden. And in half of them, they put them behind a canvas while it was being hidden so they couldn't see. So, in cases where the bonobo knew that the human had seen where it was hidden, it wouldn't help them. Because it was like, you saw where they hid it, just pick the right cup. And it would take longer and was more reluctant to help these humans. Versus when it knew the human hadn't seen where it was, they were very quick to be like, hey, it's here. Pick this one so I can have this treat. And what this shows is a psychological concept called theory of mind. That's one of those like advanced concepts that people think that most animals don't have. Is what really is one of the things that separates us from animals. And it's where we are able to understand or infer what knowledge another creature may have. Or what another creature might think or believe based on observations. And this is an incredibly human trait. It comes in the day-to-day form of like every time you infer a social construct or adjust how you're interacting based on like someone's mood. All of that is theory of mind.
Interesting.
And so now they are looking at it in bonobos with this study, with them helping out stupid humans and being willing to come and show us where the thing is since we didn't see it.
It's over there.
It's here, dummy.
Because aren't bonobos like our closest primate relative of all of them?
Yeah, bonobos and chimps are about equally spaced.
Okay. I knew they're both very close.
Fun fact about bonobos that I have read once and then saw on something unrelated 2 times in the last 2 days is they do like non-sexual genital rubbing when things are really tense. And it's not like a sexual thing. It's like a social construct. And it's mostly between lady chimpanzees, but then male chimpanzees, not female bonobos, but then male bonobos also do penis jousting.
Penis jousting?
Jousting.
Oh God,
that was the term that was used in the scientific thing I read.
I want to dream to have a penis long enough to do penis jousting.
Just do penis jousting. But for some reason, 2 times in 2 days from 2 entirely different sources, I ended up seeing this and hearing about it.
I mean, I knew they masturbated and stuff. Bonobos are like them and dolphins and humans, like the only ones that they know.
Yeah, bonobos also like
pleasure.
They trade it for things, for like social exchanges and food and shit.
I'll jerk you off for an apple.
Well, they do it just when things are tense too. It's just all the time.
You gotta rub some genitals.
It's
nervous.
Not that sexual. That's the thing. It's like a transaction. So that's stupid humans.
What better to bring us to our main segment than genital rubbing to Snow White,
That's right.
A Tale of Terror.
All right. Well, on a blustery winter road, we meet a lord and his lady traveling a perilous, wheeled wagon, covered wagon. The wheel breaks. They topple down a hill and then are nearly set upon by wolves. The lady is gravely injured and urges her husband to cut the baby from her belly to save its life. He does so, sacrificing his wife in exchange. We cut to 6-8 years later. The Lord himself is getting ready to wed a new lady, and his daughter and her are meeting for the first time. We meet Claudia, played by Sigourney Weaver, who has a gift for Lily, a puppy, which quickly wins the child over. We then meet the lady's creepy brother, Gustav, who's a magician of some sort and who definitely looks like he's going to watch them have sex later. Claudia sort of dreams and reminisces about her new marriage as she unpacks in her new home and unwraps a large armoire with spooky finger carvings and a mirror inside. Well, that night, Lily catches Claudia smooching with her dad, and Claudia just stares her down while she does it. It's real weird. We then cut to a banquet where Claudia is singing, lip-syncing an aria as the court watches on. It turns out it's their wedding banquet, and that night the Lord and Claudia lay in their wedding bed naked as people throw wine on them to bless their sheets. And little Lily throws her wine at Claudia and runs off. She then makes her way into Claudia's room where she is messing with her things, but the nursemaid comes in looking for her. She hides under the bed. The nursemaid peeks open the armoire and is killed and choked by whatever the hell is in there. She dies. We then get a cut to 10-ish years later. Lily is nearly a grown woman. She's in love with a young doctor named Peter, and Claudia is finally pregnant after all these years, and the Lord is praying for a son. But her and Lily are at odds as depicted of many stepmothers, evil stepmothers. That night, the Lord and Claudia host another such event, and Lily wears her mother's dress and really steals Claudia's thunder. That night, Claudia goes into labor, collapsing, screaming, and has a terrible labor, and the boy comes out stillborn. And it's announced that Claudia will not be able to bear another child. Claudia mourns her child in this fact and makes Gustav promise not to let them get rid of the baby. He then goes and retrieves the wrapped body from the fire just as the armoire opens. And Claudia sees herself in the mirror, and she has a well-deserved mental breakdown here.
Very true.
Up until this point, while the movie is dark and strange, this is all pretty mundane. But that's when Claudia hears the voice in the armoire. The mirror assures her of her beauty and tells her that sort of makes her very suspicious of her enemies and the people that plot against her. A few days later, Lily tentatively visits her stepmother, but things are just as tense as always. And Lily goes to meet her gentleman Fred. He's heading back to Paris, Dr. Peter, but tells her that he intends to ask for her hand in marriage, and she is all aflutter. Lily takes out from the castle on the road alone. She encounters Gustav. With crazed eyes, he brandishes a dagger and tries to kill her, take her heart out. Lily tumbles down an embankment into some sort of cave or structure of some sort, and Gustav doesn't know what to do, so he cuts out the heart of a pig and takes it to his sister to lie to her. Well, it's discovered by the Lord that Lily is missing. She ends up finding a rundown shelter and some moldy food as her father unleashes this search for her. He ends up breaking his leg, and makes him bedridden and unable to continue the search. Lily ends up getting found by a motley crew that sort of scare the crap out of her. Meanwhile, Claudia, the mirror, is putting more and more evil into her head and reveals that Gustav betrayed her and that Lily is still alive. Gustav is cursed with his guilt, spiders crawling out of his skin, and then something supernatural attacks and kills him. He ends up stabbing himself in the heart. Lily watches on as the rabble eats and drinks without her. They decide they're going to try to ransom her. And Rolf goes to molest her, but Will stops him. The next day, the gang go down to the mine. They're looking for the big payload. They leave her to fend for herself, but she's afraid. She goes with them. We find Claudia then out in the woods. She's set up a dark altar with candles for her dead child. She casts some magic, dumping an hourglass inside of which is a bird now being smothered by sand. Underground in the mines, they begin to collapse. Lily nearly falls and is killed. She's saved by Will, but Gilbert, the priest, doesn't make it. Mm-hmm. Claudia, meanwhile, poisons her husband's soup. As Dr. Peter returns looking for Lily, she tells him all the servants have gone, and then she seduces him. Lily starts hallucinating that her father is calling for her name as Claudia casts an evil spell, toppling statues in their hall, which correspond to trees in the forest, nearly crushing Lily and the others. And Lars, one of the rest of the crew, is killed in this exchange. Claudia goes to her lord, who is injured and confused, and she seduces him into making a new child. But Claudia has to finish off Lily if she is to succeed. The mirror said so. She takes the form of an old crone and tracks down Lily, enticing her with an apple. Lily takes a bite, falling into a trance as the doctors and miners find her. She slips further and further away, but Will brings her out of it somehow. And the next day, Lily departs with the doctor, leaving Will and the others behind. Meanwhile, Claudia has dragged the Lord bound to her chamber. She straps him upside down on a cross and makes to sacrifice him. But just then, the doctor, Will, and Lily sneak into the castle. They're chased by her dog, Odo, who I guess kind of pays off from earlier in the film. Lily is attacked by crazed, brainwashed servants, but defends herself, stabbing it in the face with a candle. Lily faces off against her stepmother, crossbow in hand, and that's when she discovers the previously lifeless baby now moving on the bed with evil Phil. Claudia appears out of nowhere, throwing Lily into a mirror, cutting Lily's face with a shard, and as a fire breaks out, Lily stabs the mirror, bringing an end to Claudia. Lily comforts her father, and that is the weird ending to this movie. So Jarman, did you know this movie existed before we did this?
Not at all.
I had a vague recollection of watching it some point in college.
Yeah, because it came out in 97, but I would have been like 11 years old.
Right. Even when I saw it, it was 8 years old.
Right.
At that point. But yeah, this I didn't remember it being particularly good, and I'm pleased to say my memory was fine on this one.
Yeah, because and there's not 7 dwarves, there's just 7 really creepy, mean, nasty guys who aren't pleasant at all, which is weird. But they don't mention the name Snow White once the whole movie. It's just she's Lily.
That is weird. That she is just Lily. Yeah.
Yeah. But some good things about it. You'll notice from the get-go, you're like, oh, maybe this will go somewhere good because it's good cinematography, great costumes and set design. The music's good. It's not crappy MIDI music. It's actually pretty good music. So those are all setting you up to be like, hey, this could be something interesting. Sigourney Weaver, Sam Neill, they were big at the time, 97.
Yeah, Sam Neill was hot on Jurassic Park time then.
She was on Ghostbusters, all that stuff, and Alien.
Sigourney was at her height.
Yeah. So the acting was really good, too. The supporting characters are good. Gustav was definitely creepy. And the dwarves are not dwarves were all sufficiently creepy as well.
Yeah, they did well.
But also I would say the Snow White actress was very well cast because she was like beautiful, but also sweet and young, and she was determined. And she had the most unsettling horror scream I've heard in a long time. Like they had her screaming constantly in this movie, and it was unsettling every time she screamed. I was like, Jesus, that's terrifying. Like that was probably the scariest part of the movie, is hearing her scream. Monica Keena was her name. I'd never seen her before or since. But yeah, this like all these things you'd think would make a good movie, but then I guess it's just a bad script, bad adaptation of this story, because it was like a drudgery to watch. I don't know. I have more bad things, but what do you think? What are any good things you had about the movie?
I agree. Some of the supporting cast was surprising. On top of the people you already mentioned, Gil Bellows as Will,
Ally McBeal fame, yeah,
the sort of love interest, kind of. They didn't even play him fully that way, which I kind of respected. David Conrad, who played the Doctor, he wasn't exceptional, but he's gone on to be in a lot of stuff, and this is one of his early roles. And then I want to point out in the motley crew of the miners was Chris Bauer, who's a great character actor.
Oh, he's been tons of stuff.
Tons of stuff. But it was interesting to see him so early here.
Yeah.
And the gravitas of Sam Neill. What can I say?
Did a great job.
So yeah, no, I agree. There were decent actors holding this together, and the plot was what you expected, was what we all expected. I thought there were some interesting takes, but like I think my overall review is there was nothing exceptional about this movie.
Yeah, nothing
Neither
came together,
good nor bad. Like it wasn't awful; it was perfectly serviceable. Some of the effects were good.
Yeah. The trees falling down was crazy. It was kind of an exciting scene a little bit, like.
Oh yeah. Well, I loved all the if anything, I like that the imagery of the magic where she's like drowning the bird in sand.
Yeah.
And they're collapsing. She's tipping over the statues, destroying her own house, and bringing down the trees. Like
that was cool.
All of that played well for me.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, otherwise like unexceptional kind of in every dimension.
I think the problem too is that there's it's just so depressing. There's no light moments. There was no happiness. Everybody was flawed in a really bad way, except for Snow White. She was just sweet and trying to her best. But like even the guy she falls for in the end, he's kind of a weirdo. He's too old for her, and it's just like it's just all felt kind of icky and weird. So there's no pleasantness in this entire movie to look forward to. And you at least have the dwarves usually just some kind of comedic relief, but there were just 7 guys who were really creepy and criminals. So I don't know.
Yeah.
And also we talk about this on other movies too, like not explaining the world of the powers very well. Like Sigourney Weaver's magic from that armoire. We don't really understand exactly what it is or where it comes from or what the limitations of it are, or it's not really explained. It's like something about her mother in the beginning, she says. But
yeah, the careful with the armoire was my mother's.
Yeah.
And then she's kind of at the beginning sort of like talking vicariously to her mother through it.
Yeah.
So it's almost as if implied that there is something going on at the beginning. But I agree, it would have been better if like this tragic event woke whatever this spirit was.
And like she was good before that or something.
She was good before that. Right. Like that would have been a way more interesting angle to play.
And maybe they're going for that, but we didn't play. It didn't come across that she was always
because
good.
If she was more likable and good, then Gustav could have been more likable and good. So later on, when he's like trying to help her and trying to be the good brother, and then she murders him, it would have had actual impact because we would have liked Gustav.
Yeah, whereas he was just creepy from the get-go.
He was creepy and her henchman. So when he murdered himself, it was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
Great.
So no, I think with just 1 or 2 little tweaks, this could have been a really good story and then ended with any redemptive moment with Sigourney Weaver.
Yes, that would have been nice too. Like she feels bad at the end or something.
Right. And the reflection looks back at Snow and says one final thing.
Yeah.
Anything to give this more depth. There didn't need to be 2 love interests. That felt really, really weird. I understand why they did it. They're like, here's the guy that society says she's supposed to be with, and here's Will. He's a criminal. Like, what?
But yeah, they should have made the prince guy should have seemed really great at first, but then it turns out he's kind of corrupt, and he actually liked cheating with the Sigourney Weaver character, and then made the Will guy.
He was going to Paris, and he had a fiance there or something. Yeah. Just anything.
But then make Will actually a good guy who's trying not to be a criminal. He had false charges against him. But no, it seemed like Will was actually kind of not that great of a guy to begin with. Neither of the love interests were that likable, I thought. So it didn't make either of them seem appropriate for her. So it just felt kind of icky the whole time.
And then you cast all of this in like additionally weird religious tones. Because they mentioned the Crusades and, they're blessing the wedding bed and there's Latin, Catholic chants going on. And,
yep.
So that was additionally strange. And Sam Neill being hung upside down on the cross late in the game.
Yeah. There's like Satan involved in this stuff. Is there satanic rituals going on here? I don't know.
Right. Like we knew it was dark magic. But once again, it felt like there was room for more.
They needed a couple script rewrites and it would have been okay.
Yeah, man. Some nips and tucks. Sigourney Weaver, you should have insisted on it.
That's right. You had the power back then.
You did. You could have fixed this, Sigourney.
But she was sexy in this. I'll give her that. I don't know. That's what I'm saying.
That's true. She looked real good.
Yep. Well, some trivia for this fantastic film. Sigourney Weaver stated that one of the reasons she wanted to play the evil queen role was for never having actually understood why the king would be so stupid to marry such a cruel woman. Not just unpleasant, but also a killer. So she wanted to provide a stepmother with the best intentions of being a mother in this film, which she could have done if the script was done a little better, but it didn't come across that way. No fault of hers.
And some of that could have been editing, too.
That's true.
Like the way
we could have missed some scene or something.
Scenes were put together, yeah.
The role of Lily Hoffman / Snow White was originally written with Alicia Silverstone in mind, which makes sense because she was huge at the time as well, but that didn't happen. This film was originally slated for theatrical release, but ended up debuting on Showtime in the U.S., so I don't think it actually got a theatrical release anywhere, but maybe in the U.K., who knows. Sigourney Weaver said of her hag crone makeup, it's such a pleasure to run up and scare people between takes. Sam Neill hated it. I'd come around and I'd pet him. It made him so uncomfortable. I told him, "Oh, dearie, you make me want to be 50 again." So she liked creeping out Sam Neill, so that's nice. Producer Tom Engelman said about this film, it's more like Walt Disney meets Fatal Attraction and a return to the original dark and evil fairy tale. And to that I wrote, sure.
Yeah,
sure.
True.
Great. Monica Keena, who played Snow White, was 16 years old when she played Snow White in this film, which I wrote disturbing because there's a lot of like rapey scenes and she's getting married to old people and it's a little weird. But
yeah, true.
Yeah, that's the 90s. So that's Snow White: A Tale of Terror.
I'd say you could probably skip this one, honestly.
Yeah. It's just too meh.
It was not good enough for me to say it was a pleasant surprise, and it wasn't bad enough for me to say like it's worth the watch just to see how terrible it is. It's in this in-between space.
Yeah, more of a mess space.
Yeah, more of a mess space. I agree.
But we have a game for Steve to play in that vein of Snow White and Grimm fairy tales. The Brothers Grimm, as they've been called. This game's called Grimm or just Grimm with one M. So basically...
Okay.
Steve is going to tell me, after I give him a synopsis of a story, is this a real Grimm fairy tale or just something I made up?
Oh, okay.
Because Grimm fairy tales, that those of you know, are very gory, very disturbing.
Yeah, most of them are graphic.
A lot of weird stuff going on. So we have, one second. All right, so number one, you ready?
Yeah, let's do it. Grimm or just Grimm.
This is called The Princess of Blood and Bones. So a cruel princess forces her suitors to fight each other to the death in her courtyard. The bones of the dead are piled into a throne where she sits and laughs at the carnage.
I'm going to say just Grimm.
That's correct. It is made up. It is just a Grimm story.
That feels just too grim.
I'm feeling was it the guy who played Riker, Jonathan Frakes, saying, nope, we made that one up on Fact or Fiction or whatever. All right. I'll put a little thing there. You got that correct?
All right.
Number two. The juniper tree. A woman beheads her stepson, cooks his body into a stew, and serves it to his father. Later, the boy's spirit returns as a bird, drops a millstone on the stepmother, and is reborn.
I'm going to say that's Grimm.
That is correct. That is a real Grimm
Anytime
fairy
you're
tale.
making children into food, that's like a hallmark of Grimm fairy tales.
This one is Hans my Hedgehog.
That's Grimm.
Oh, you know this one.
Yeah, well, there is an episode of The Storyteller.
Oh.
That does Hans my Hedgehog.
Well, let me read it for the folks just in case they don't know.
Yeah, please read it for the folks. It was unfair.
That's all right. That's good. I'm glad you got it. A woman gives birth to a child who is half human, half hedgehog. His father is disgusted and banishes him. The boy later rides a rooster, skins a princess alive, and becomes fully human. You know, that old wives' tale. All right. You got that one right. Now we have the Crimson Plaque. A village is cursed so that every newborn is born without eyes. A wandering prince discovers that the villagers keep a pit filled with stolen children's eyes, and he must steal them back.
That feels like I'm gonna say just Grimm.
That is correct. What made you say that?
Okay. Because I don't know, most Grimm fairy tales end with like some sort of reciprocal revenge. And so, like on the first one, like he drops the millstone on her, blah, blah, blah. Like that's like, okay, reciprocal revenge.
Like they
this
get
one
theirs
is just
at the
like
end.
he falls a squishy pit of eyes. And mind you, that sounds like a really cool like D&D primer for like a dark campaign.
That's true.
Children keep getting born without eyes.
They have to steal back their eyes.
You've been sent to investigate.
Okay, the Hollowed Ones. A woodcutter finds a strange house deep in the forest. Inside, hollowed out human skins hang like clothes. The creatures that wear them whisper about needing a new suit before sunrise.
I'm going to say just Grimm again.
That is correct.
Okay.
All right.
Once again, like that's a cool
D&D
like
prompt.
RPG kind of prompt, maybe a one-shot kind of deal.
The robber bridegroom. A young woman is taken to a house in the woods where she witnesses her groom and his band of thieves murder and dismember a girl, dipping her fingers in salt to eat them later.
I'm going to say Grimm.
That is true. It's a real Grimm's fairy tale.
Like eating humans is like such a part of this. I'm not kidding.
Why do they always want to eat humans?
Seriously, yeah, man. Just eating humans.
All right. Fitcher's bird. A sorcerer kidnaps young women and gives them a key to his forbidden chamber. Those who look inside find dismembered bodies, and their blood stains the key forever. One girl escapes by disguising herself as a bird.
I'll say Grimm.
That is correct.
All right.
There was no eating things that time, but
no. Had you not ended and she escaped disguising herself as a bird, for whatever reason, felt too like flippant. Like it felt too not morose.
That's true. So it was a Grimm's fairy tale, you're saying.
Right.
Yes.
Like.
All right, here we go. The screaming tree. A lonely girl befriends an ancient tree. One day she cuts its bark and hears it scream. That night, the tree appears in her bedroom, whispering that it will wear her skin so it never has to bleed again.
That's just Grimm?
That is correct. I think you're getting the feel for it now.
Yeah.
Or you have the whole time. The stolen liver. A starving old woman is tricked by her own daughter into eating a cooked liver. The daughter laughs, revealing it was her own liver, stolen through black magic. The woman dies, and the daughter vanishes into the wind.
I say Grimm.
That is incorrect.
Oh, damn. Someone eating themselves. I was like,
finally.
What's more grim than that?
It was more flesh eating, but it was not that time.
Oh, man. It got me with the flesh eating.
All right. It's the last one. All right. The three snake. A man bruises. A man buries his dead wife, but a snake revives her with magical leaves. Later, she betrays him, so he kills her and has her body set adrift on a boat with the same snake leaves, ensuring she never returns.
I'm gonna say Grimm.
That is correct. It was a weird one.
Okay,
I don't know what
was
snake
weird.
leaves are. I don't know those.
Yeah, I don't know either. But it was weird enough that I was like, that could just be AI generated nonsense.
But that means you got 9 out of 10 correct.
Holy hell. That might legitimately be the best I have ever done on a game.
Maybe once before ever, but
10 in over a decade of the show.
Oh man, that was well done. You were in the right mindset for it.
Yeah, man. Anytime you're eating human flesh, it's a good indicator.
And Steve's ready for it.
I'm here for it.
All right, well, that brings us to some radical recommends.
I recommend.
If you have the means, I highly recommend picking one up.
What do you recommend I do?
I recommend Pleasant.
All right. This week, my radical recommend is something I've already been talking to Jarman about, and I thought I'd bring it to you fine people. And that is a program that I found called Obsidian that has become almost overnight my default note-taking and dungeon master prep tool. It is basically a user interface for a markdown database that it builds. It does all the code stuff for you, but it allows you to make individual pages, folders, but then not only that, tag other pages very easily and quickly within, the thing you're typing. So you could type a note and make a reference to a place and just tag that place. And then that tag will automatically lead to the page for that place with information about the tower that's there and the lord that rules it. And in the note, you can just drop that down, have a quick, easy reference to what you need, and then go right back to what you were looking at, what you were planning. It has made being able to simplify all the stuff I need to look at a given moment, like to another level. As someone who went just in the last couple of years from note cards to text edit to OneNote, which did well for a good long while. OneNote was my thing. Now to Confluence and now onto Obsidian. This is far and wide the most comfortable, the most user-friendly, does most of the heavy lifting as far as keeping things organized. I can reference photos in there, and all it does is it saves a folder on your machine.
Mm-hmm.
It's all just a big markdown file.
I describe it to make it easier for people who aren't as tech savvy. Like, it's like making your own Wikipedia page for your project. So I would have loved it for my Scotland trip. It would have been great because I would have been able to say, we're going to go to this town when we visit this area. And I could then make a different page for what's the cool stuff we want to see in each little section of that town. The restaurant will have a different page, but you can all see it on one page. It's hard to kind of describe.
But then additionally, you can tag things. So let's say in that scenario, you listed 30 restaurants you were going to go to over the course of your trip or wanted to. You could do a tag, hashtag all of them restaurant, and then do a search for that tag and have every restaurant come up while having it be in separate locations within the note.
Very helpful.
So I highly recommend Obsidian. It really comes alive when you get when you enable community built add-ons. There's one called Make that allows it to do what's called the flow, which is, as I said, where you can put drop-down information referencing other pages inside, but you can also edit directly from, so you don't have to go visit that page to change it.
Mm-hmm.
It makes updating notes on the fly, which in a game like D&D where you can, you have to make up the name of a vendor. Well, now I can just make a page for them in that moment, type my quick note, and then go right back to where I was at. I don't have to go create a new page, take some notes, make sure I go and link it to here or blah, blah, blah. Like, that all happens automatically.
And you can find that vendor permanently now whenever you need that vendor again.
Right. And then you can easily add that quick note, add that note about the thing they sold the group, add that note about the job they gave them, and have it all kept under that vendor. So Obsidian with Make, like Make is when it really came alive. It was a cool tool, and then I installed Make, and it took it to just a different level of awesomeness. I highly recommend it for everybody.
It's pretty cool.
It is awesome.
But that takes us to some trailer reviews. So this time we're talking about In the Lost Lands, which I had not heard of up to this point. Suddenly a trailer drops, and I'm like, where the hell did this come from? But it's apparently based off of a George R.R. Martin story, the Game of Thrones writer. He's busy writing this stuff instead of finishing his last book.
Will you finish the damn book, George?
But I'm going to write this other thing first. Is that okay? I can make some money off of that.
I literally read the last book before I started working in Cupertino.
Oh my God. That's years and years ago.
Right. A career ago, I finished the last book. I need you to do the next one.
That's ridiculous.
To the point where I don't remember anything, George.
No one does. Yeah.
I have to go back and reread this shit because all I remember is it had the salty taste of balls and the television show final seasons in my mouth.
They teabagged
and I need to
you
wash it out.
Season.
I need to wash it out, George.
It almost isn't their fault that the last season sucked because they fully expected that book to be out way before the show was over. But they're like,
yeah, who would have thought?
Yeah, they're like, oh, of course, he's releasing these books on a schedule. Like, and all of a sudden, he just never does the last one. Like, I guess we got to make shit up for the last season. Okay, whatever. Anyways, back to In the Lost Lands. It looks like it's a movie with Mila Jovovich and Dave Bautista and some kind of magical post-apocalyptic Earth where I think looks kind of like almost that post-apocalyptic nuclear stuff has caused cults of kind of like mutant magic of some sort. Maybe it's kind of radioactive power. We're not sure. But there is some floating and fireballs being thrown by hands. And Mila Jovovich plays this kind of revolutionary in this town that's like really shut down by tyrants and overlords. So she's trying to escape to the forest to get this magic in the Lost Lands or whatever. So she wants a guide. So she hires Dave Bautista, this like cool gunslinger type of dude. And they fight some demon creatures. Maybe they're mutants. We're not sure. But yeah, what do you think of the trailer, Steve?
So this looks like 4 different things.
Yes.
Just made to kiss. It looks like a Resident Evil film. It looks like that failure Dark Tower thing they tried with Idris Elba. It looks a little bit like Zombieland.
Mm-hmm.
It looks a little bit like kind of the Borderlands or Fallout.
Yep. little bit of
Has
Fallout.
that sort of post-apocalyptic war vibe. It looks like something that is trying to capture a hot moment
Of everything put together.
And is going to be a train wreck.
Like most movies Mila Jovovich is in, unfortunately.
Yes. Between the lackluster visuals, the fact that Mila Jovovich is in the lead and they couldn't resist putting zombies in it, it tells me that this is going to be a train wreck.
Personally, I'm glad she's getting a paycheck. I've loved her since I was a little pubescent boy.
Mila Jovovich doesn't need any more money. Let's look. Let's see how much money she is worth. But she's married to like a famous director, right?
Well, she's been married to like 3 different directors.
Who directs all these fucking things.
Yeah.
She's worth $80 million,
Oh my
dude.
God.
Mila Jovovich can fucking sit down for a minute, okay? She doesn't need to do these movies
Maybe
anymore.
do some like romantic comedies or dramas. Stop doing these.
Dude, yeah, get your Oscar, Mila. We know it's in you.
Yeah.
I know
personally
you can
loved
kill
her.
zombies. Can you slay Julia Roberts in a scene? That's what I want to know.
I saw her in The Messenger when I was young because she did try a foray into some dramatic stuff, but it was while she was married to that director who did The Fifth Element, the French guy, and he tried to do that dramatic movie, The Messenger, about Joan of Arc, and had Dustin Hoffman in it. She played Joan of Arc, and he played like the God of Death or something like that, or the Devil or something. And she was amazing in that, crying and just emotional scenes covered in mud. And she was just like, it was not the crazy kick your ass movie like she's usually in. So she has it in her. I don't know why she keeps doing these movies. I thought the visuals looked pretty good actually, but it just looks like it's so bonkers and all over the place. I have no idea what the hell it's about.
I thought the style of the visuals it communicated everything I needed to know as far as like the post-apocalyptic vibe. But there were a couple really wide panning shots where they were showing landscapes and like what looked like maybe like a football stadium that's been transformed into a city or something. And those wide moving shots looked bad.
Oh yeah, I didn't know.
The motion looked bad. The graphic looked bad. Like it communicated well, but it looked bad.
Gotcha. Probably a budget cut somewhere, basically.
Oh yeah. And mind you, this could also not be final renders. That is not uncommon.
True.
For trailers. But yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know if Dave Bautista is enough to fix this.
I like where he's going this career. He's beefing up less and he's going to do some more serious roles, but then he's doing this one. So I'm like,
he's on an all plant-based diet now.
He's lost like
he dropped like 50 pounds or something like that.
Something crazy.
He's still just lean, just wiry rope.
Yeah, instead of being giant, massive guy he was before. It's amazing.
So I'm gonna give this one. Raul's sitting in his easy chair. It's that nice green one with the high back. He's got his paper up, and he hears chink, chink, chink. He breathes out a sigh. Tipping down his paper, he looks up, and there's Gary Busey standing in the doorway. Hurrah! And he tips his cowboy hat. And the further that Gary tips his paper down, it is revealed to the camera that Gary is nude, except for a cowboy hat, his belt with a gun, and spurs. And Raul goes, "Off to the movies, are you?" And Gary goes, "Yep." And he runs out the door.
Nude movie watching. My
Nude
favorite.
movies. Nude movie Tuesdays.
Nude movie Tuesdays. My review for this film is Raul puts on a cloak before he enters the house. And it's late at night. And he goes in the house and he sees Gary sitting on the couch just staring at the wall like he normally does. And he says, "Gary, there's something I need to tell you." And Gary says, "What is it, Raul?" He says, "You've been chosen. You are a powerful sorcerer. And to save everyone on the planet, you must go out into the forest, deep, deep into the forest. Keep going. And you think you can't need to stop. Just keep going. And you'll find a magical amulet. It'll be glowing green. And only then, when you retrieve the amulet, will you save all of humanity." "I'm on it, Raul." And he just leaves the house. And Raul just takes off the cloak and goes, "Oh, thank God." He just sends him out.
Every day he sends him on a new adventure.
Yeah, just as long as it'll take. Please keep going.
Gary, today go catch Pokemon and fight them or something. I don't know.
I love Pokemon.
I've got work in the morning, Gary. Please just go.
I know you don't sleep.
Catch a Pikazard or whatever the hell it is. Just get out of here.
It's Pikachoodle.
Yes, it is. You're right.
Oh, yeah. That's good. Yeah, that works.
Good trailer review. Well, that brings us to the end of episode 218. Join us next time where, in honor of the much anticipated Minecraft movie and the premiere of season 2 for Last of Us, we take a moment to honor another monumental video game movie franchise that crossed from its video game roots into the screen media, featuring walking undead, unnerving gun battles. Of course, we're talking about Resident Evil 3 with Mila Jovovich.
Yeah. Classic.
All of that and more next time. Come on back and be our nerdy audience. We will keep on coming back and being your nerdy co-hosts. Thanks again, Internet.
Stay nerdy, my friends. Thanks for listening to A Play on Nerds. Feel free to email feedback at aplayonnerds.com with all your questions or comments.
Shoot us a message on Facebook or Twitter and earn yourself a sweet shout out on the show.
Review us on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts so even more nerds can find us. Tell your friends, tell your enemies, we aren't picky.
Check out our entire back catalog and other offerings at aplayonnerds.com.
And how?